The house that Brian and Andrew are building in Crete with their friends Pete and Les is just days away from completion.
This is a laundry basket.
And since Brian still doesn't have a job, Andrew's decided it's high time he pulled his weight in the home.
This is the washing machine. You say open.
I don't do this, Andrew.
In the washing.
You're patronising me now.
I'm not.
Relations between them become strained.
Toast, where is it?
In the shop. You didn't get any bread yesterday.
And Andrew, a man with the patience of a saint, has had enough.
Got no milk either. I'm waiting.
But there's worse in store for Brian.
I think we've lost this window. I really do.
His giant, hydraulically operated picture window finally hits the buffers.
Shattering blow.
So near and yet so far.
And he's inconsolable. The house in Crete will be ready to move into in a week's time. There's still some finishing work to do, and today, controversially, they are fitting the alternative to Brian's giant mechanised window, the dreaded patio doors. It seems almost cruel, given all the heartache they've been through, that these glass doors take just one trouble-free morning to install. Brian has taken the whole thing very badly, and knowing that the window was due to be fitted today, he's gone off to seek solace on his own.
I love the new life that I have. I love everything about it. But inside, I've perhaps been too obsessed by it. You know, you can actually become too obsessed with something, but I really, really wanted this window, just this picture window, this vision of what we see from the lounge.
At the end of the day, it's left to Andrew to check the new patio doors. For him, the whole window incident can now be laid to rest. But he knows the hardest task is still ahead, winning Brian around.
Obviously they're not the full opening that we had originally wanted, without any bars going down, which Brian will hate. He'll hate seeing the bars. But we've had to compromise. It didn't turn out possible. We've got an alternative, and it is, I think, the best alternative we could get. Anybody who comes out from England would actually, they'd love to have a view like that at home. All we have to do is convince Brian that it is the best we can do.
It's the following morning, and Pete and Les flew in late last night. But having been pre-warned by Andrew to give Brian a wide berth, they've slipped out for some welcome Cretan air.
Yeah, absolutely knackered when we got back last night, which is why we've come out for a bit of a walk, blow the cobwebs out, and the views are absolutely stunning. The mountains have still got snow on them. We've got lovely seas, and it's absolutely magic. I think there's more possibilities without the window. There's more possibilities to use what really is an aircraft hangar of a garage.
After all, it's only a pane of glass. I mean, even in your own home, how often do you notice the windows? Unless they're dirty. So.
Well, there we are.
Back at their rented villa, Andrew has begun his patio door charm offensive.
It does look good. It hasn't affected the view.
Yes, it has.
It hasn't affected the view at all.
Yes, it has.
It hasn't.
Oh, come on, Andrew. It has. It must have done. I don't want to see it.
It's going to be very difficult not to see it. How are you going to do it? Sit there with your eyes closed? Because we're moving into the house.
I don't really think I want to move in.
Well, you haven't got much choice, have you?
Storm clouds have started to gather over the house. Like a man being taken to the morgue to identify his closest relative, Brian arrives to view the dreaded patio doors. Pete and Les bravely put in an appearance to give Andrew some moral support. And, as ever, Pete doesn't mince his words.
The window?
Excellent.
No, it's not, Pete.
Well,
I
never shared your vision. I think they're brilliant.
It's not like any other lounge because it has that view.
No, Andrew, this view has got that, it's got that, it's got that, it's got that, it's got that.
Well, I just don't understand your passion over it, because quite frankly, I think that is an eminently suitable window for a property like this.
I just need some space to look at it.
Well, we'll leave you to it.
I'll see you back at the villa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
We'll see you later.
All right.
Cheers.
By the following day, Brian's mood has begun to lift, and the sight of all their belongings from England being delivered this morning has a decidedly cheering effect.
Looks like the Beverly Hillbillies, doesn't it?
Couldn't put it better myself, Brian. Brian has commandeered Pete and Les's downstairs section as a storage hold for items they don't need immediately.
Cat flaps.
It's up here. The Greeks don't have pet cats, so we need cat flaps for the door, but you can't buy them here, so we've actually brought two to fit to the door with us. That's downstairs.
That is downstairs. I don't know where we're going to put it all. We did have a large 5-bedroom house. We've now moved her into a 2-bedroom villa. Good job your place isn't ready.
Yes, I was going to say. Good job we're not starting next week.
Yeah.
Downstairs.
Ornamental. Yeah.
Brian, trains can go downstairs for now.
Why?
Well, you're not going to play trains yet, are you?
Well, I might feel like a therapy.
Well, you can do it downstairs.
That dog, you don't want to... Hang on.
Brian and Andrew have splashed out on new beds for the house. And always a man who takes his rest seriously, Brian can't wait to get their super deluxe king-size model ready for use.
I think we're wrong.
We're not wrong.
You sure these aren't the fit-together ones?
No, straight.
While it could be argued there are more important matters to attend to, Brian is insistent that no one rests until the bed is up.
You go first, and this can go against the window.
But it's not as simple as he first thought.
Trust me. So that needs to come over. Oh, hell, I've just pulled that off.
Gently, Bentley.
Right, I think it's time for a fag break.
I thought you were going to say you're going to have a snooze.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Well, actually,
No, don't lay on that, you'll never get up.
However, Brian does have to get up, and much sooner than he'd been planning.
We've actually now discovered that we've got the wrong bed bases with the wrong bed, because we've got the bases in there that should be with this mattress, and these bases should be in there with those mattresses.
So, another hour or so of hard graft should see Brian's bed completed.
screw that one together, Brian, and I'll put the other two in the other room.
The whole thing is turning out to be much more tiring than Brian had planned. And by the end of that afternoon, the whole team have had enough. Having made their beds, they clearly can't wait to lie in them. And although there's still an enormous amount of work to do before they move in the day after tomorrow, there seems no doubt that work for today is finished. Today is Sunday, and although they're due to move in tomorrow, Andrew decides they'll get more done with Brian out of the way. So he's persuaded Manolis, their plumber, to take Brian out on his boat for the day. What Andrew hadn't banked on was that Pete and Les would decide to go too.
Two come in.
Meanwhile, back at the house, Andrew is left to fit the kitchen on his own.
I would think the boat is the best possible medicine for him to have, because he's so into boats that if there's one thing he'll take his mind off, his disappointment is that trip on a boat. So I hope it's a good one. Sounded good, and I wish I was with them, but if it cheers him up, at least it's done some good.
Under strict instructions to blow Brian's cobwebs out, Manolis is taking his work very seriously.
I'm feeling ever so guilty, you know. Andrew would have loved this. We're going to have to do it all again.
In the peace and quiet of the kitchen, Andrew has been thinking. He's come up with an idea of what he and Brian could do with all the money they've saved on their window.
I've sort of come up with this plan that perhaps we can use the money that we were going to put into the window, but we can actually give that money back to Les and Pete. I suppose, in effect, it's like buying them back out of the project, because as we know, they're coming to stay with us until they finish downstairs. So if they're coming to stay with us anyway, then what's to stop them whenever they want to come out staying with us upstairs? And then downstairs can just be sort of two holiday lets, because it's so big now. Then we can carry on, get downstairs up and running, and get some money coming back in.
Back on the boat, it's time for 11s, and you don't get fresher seafood than this.
What do you think?
Yeah, wonderful. Very good.
Manolis then prepares himself for a spot of spear fishing under the admiring gaze of Les and Brian.
Here, guys.
This day is just what they all need. And for the first time, Pete and Les begin to feel they're on holiday.
I suppose because we've been so concentrated on the house and that, it's sort of really taken a bit of the gloss off of why we ever wanted to come here. But now this is just reconfirmed the
It's
beauty of
reminded
the
us why
island.
we love this place.
But they wouldn't be so happy if they knew the plan Andrew has dreamt up back at the house.
You had got something. You've got me.
There's a tangled web about to be woven, and the team are in for some very stormy weather. Today is the day that the team move into their new house. But there's rather a lot of work still to do, so they're up early, and a final delivery is being made. Brian and Andrew bought their fridge here in Crete,
But a slight technical hitch, it won't go through the door.
and typically Brian has chosen the biggest and most expensive they could find. But then, for him, a fridge is not so much a place to keep food fresh as to keep booze cold.
Yes, the lesson here is obviously when you're buying a fridge, make sure you can get it through the front door. Because that obviously helps.
The solution, it transpires, is to remove both the front door and the fridge doors. Simple. And no doubt Brian could have told them that, if they'd just thought to ask. But Brian is still recovering from the rigours of his boat ride.
Let's go over there.
Yeah, that is the dating point.
Les and Pete, meanwhile, are taking the opportunity to rethink the layout of their area downstairs. Now that there's no longer going to be a giant window sliding down from upstairs, Pete is keen to make use of the extra space.
It does give us more opportunity to perhaps spread ourselves a bit more, because it's a bit confined compared to upstairs.
If you look at the drawing, you can see now this whole area becomes open because the window would have dropped down there. That would have left that as a dead space. Now that's not being a dead space, we could put, say, perhaps there, a patio door in. And that would give us a really good view out over the pool. So, you know, we're quite excited.
Meanwhile, unaware of Pete and Les's plans, Andrew and Brian sneak down also to check measurements. Andrew's secret plan is to buy out Pete and Les and create 2 holiday lets downstairs, again utilising the space the window would have taken.
Stop playing with the tape, hold it tight.
Brian, however, seems reluctant to take part in any exercise that benefits from the demise of his window.
Just have a break.
You've only just started, no. We're just making sure we've got the exact measurements that I can then on paper work out how we can fit 2 apartments downstairs, because there's enough room now to get 2 apartments in. And I think that's a far better use of the space. In theory, looking after the 2 apartments will then give Brian a job.
Well, I think we're being a bit deceitful creeping around down here.
No, I don't think so.
I'm still not very happy about it, Andrew.
An hour later, and Brian is to be found skulking in the basement yet again. But this time, he's in the section that was to hold his window and its motors.
This was my one sort of little area, because this window was going to come down and this wasn't usable. Now, Andrew's got ideas about turning this into a studio, knocking a hole out there. Pete wants to knock a hole out there. And if there was a possibility, and there will be a possibility of this window happening, none of that can happen. It's just...
I thought the window had been cancelled.
in my head, will still happen.
So, all now becomes clear. Brian doesn't want Andrew to buy Pete and Les out because he still dreams that one day he'll have his window. But there's no time for any more scheming if they're to be ready to move in that night. The house is still littered with literally dozens of boxes, and Andrew is still behind on fitting the kitchen.
This panel is pop riveted on.
Brian is put in charge of unpacking and sorting boxes with Les.
It's a fruit bowl. Well, we really need that straight away. Well, this is hopeless.
But typically, he gets rather easily distracted.
Oh, nice.
Do you like that?
Lovely.
I've got more trains in here, I've got signals.
Couldn't they go downstairs out of the rain?
Coventry buses.
Come on, you can
Right,
look.
before this kitchen finished, we've got to try and make room to get some of this stuff out.
Yeah, and we're doing it, Pete. I've just found a few artefacts that...
All I've seen you do is go backwards and forwards with a box in your hand. I haven't seen any been opened and emptied yet.
Well, we're trying to actually, if you must know, make some space.
Well, you were playing with your train set a minute ago.
Well,
that wasn't
I've got
very
bored
good.
with that now, so we're actually doing things for serious.
Oh, about time.
So Brian then decides that the quickest way to deal with the boxes is simply to move them all into Pete and Les's bedroom. Or, as he calls it, the spare room.
Yeah, the trains can go in the spare bedroom as well.
It's not the spare bedroom, Brian, it's our bedroom.
Oh, sorry.
How much more we got? You know, if you're going to put some boxes in here, we can't have everything in here.
Can that go in the spare bedroom?
Can't all go in the spare bedroom, Brian. Our bedroom.
Come on, Brian, this is
Yeah,
the sublime to the all gold blimey.
Can you take this?
Well, where am I going to put it?
On the bed.
Well, and how am I if I get out for a pee tonight, how am I going to get out?
Well, you'll have to go before you go to bed.
In a word,
Things are getting tense.
Well, move.
Not helped by the fact that Brian and Andrew's bedroom is still virtually empty.
See, we've got 3 boxes in there already.
well, 3.
And the Hoover.
No, this ain't on, Brian. Well, you know, I've slept in tents that would have been more comfortable than that. The sooner we get downstairs done, the better. Because, you know, this is becoming a farce.
Yeah. Well, Andrew might have something to say about that.
About what?
Well,
I hardly think this is time or the place, is it?
well... No, probably... Well, yes. No. Yes.
If you've got something on your minds, I'd sooner hear it now than wait till later. Otherwise, I'm going to be spending the rest of the day wondering what on earth you're talking about.
I haven't got anything on my mind. Have you, Andrew? You said something last night.
Well, it was only a suggestion.
Well, suggest away.
I thought if we were to give you back the money that you've put in to downstairs, we would then be able to finish and equip downstairs sooner than obviously when you could do it.
So we've wasted the last 12 months.
No.
It sounds as though you just, you know, not just want to buy us out, you want to buy us off.
No, it's not a question
That's
of buying
absolute
you
crap.
off.
We've lost our dream. We go back to Wales
no,
and we've
no,
lost
no,
our
I mean-
dream.
No, we
Well,
haven't
I
lost
think
the
we have
dream.
lost our dream, Brian, because suddenly everything has changed.
Until you actually get it finished downstairs, you are going to be staying up here with us in the spare bedroom.
That's not what the original.
I know, but
That's not the original plan. We flogged our bloody boat because we were going to have a holiday place out here. Now, because you're not having a window, you thought, oh, we can buy them off.
No, that's not.
Well,
the
that's
idea
how
of
it's
the-
coming
I
over
know
to
it's
me.
coming across like that.
It's
but
coming
that's not
across
how
like
it
that.
is.
Because if you buy us out now, that's it, finished.
Happy?
No, of course I'm not happy.
Disaster. Absolute disaster.
Is this the end of Pete and Les's dream?
It's a takeover bid. And I feel it looks as though it's a fairly hostile takeover bid.